Hello and welcome people to Panzer Drgn Saga. Last episode, the village of Dad got completely destroyed in a wonderful blast and explosions and stuff like that. And now our girlfriend is unconscious. Let's take advantage of that.
And not only that, but Shade has gone missing. We don't know where he went.
I just assume he's dead. Like the
What are you doing
like
to the
head.
dragon?
I'm not doing anything. I actually wasn't looking at the screen to look at the guide, and this is what happens.
Alrighty then.
It actually gets even better if you set up your dragon to the attacking form. Then his horn is absolutely redonkulous. So we're gonna completely ignore the flying fortress of death in the sky and gonna go to do some side quests. So here in Gorgias, there is only really one more thing to do. Find the remaining towers. The only like if you haven't done the other side quests before, there will be 4 towers. Now there's only for me there's only this one left, and so we're gonna follow into the Eggman on this fortress. Here I just was making sure if I haven't missed any of the thingamajigs. Also, it's gonna be the last time you're ever gonna visit this place, so make sure you pick up every single one of those useless items scattered around. And now we're gonna go to the Eggman in the back. Are you still there, Jar?
Yes.
Okay. Making sure. And now there's something. Should be something different.
Shoku.
Shalkov, yes, the thingamajig from the second game.
Sparkles.
Yes, it's also as you may remember the ending. It's also the it's also the resting place of this little guy. And now we follow it. This kind of reminds me of Star Fox 64, except with no urgency. We can actually, I believe we can. I believe I show it later on. You can actually go right ahead of it, or rather, he will always be ahead of you. I was kind of afraid he would disappear. So that's why I was going so slow. The music here is pretty nice. The theme of the second game rearranged. God damn, this corridor is long. Wow.
Oh.
And now we're in the Genesis chamber, the references chamber. This is a Sega game, don't forget. But let's ignore the big red herring in front of us and get an ambrosia that I'm never gonna use. And another ambrosia I will completely ignore.
Useless things. Yay.
And now we get a baby dragon! It's gonna follow us forever and ever. Let's call him Derpy. His function is kind of weird, as in at times he will disappear off of the screen, and he will go off and find items. you can completely ignore that function. That is what I do, because I was never actually able to find him after he disappeared off the screen. If you don't find him after he disappears off the screen, don't worry, he comes back, but he doesn't have the item. But none of the items he picks up are any good. It's just some elixirs, MP restorers, you know, the regular stuff. There is, however, one item that that he picks up that's sellable, but you only really want that if you want 100% completion at this game, which I gave up on because this game glitches like hell. And now that we have gotten everything out of the Shelkov that we ever needed, we're gonna waste a little bit of time by accidentally clicking on a thing that we cannot use. Yeah. And we're gonna get to the other side of the ship, where there are wings, and finish the job we started in the second game. As in, destroy this piece of crap. And now an interesting thing, the ship actually fights back. I was trying to see how many tentacles I can get on myself. They will in fact not let you go, you have to destroy them, but once you do, it's over for the Shelkov. And we don't look at explosions, like the badasses. Okay, so now we can actually proceed with the plot after we save.
After we save.
Yeah, well, this one boss fight is actually kind of, well, it isn't quite as difficult as I remembered it being. And I was a little overly careful. I was a little overly careful with that fight, since I kind of mistook it for a fight that happens later on. And here we cut to Uru, and I don't actually remember what I'm doing here.
Barrel rolls, obviously.
Well, barrel rolls are important in any and every place, but
I like that the little one didn't shoot.
yeah, he also does barrel rolls. Every time I do a barrel roll, he does a barrel roll, and
He just did
also
one on his own.
yeah, he also does some on his own. But it's pretty cool that he will always do one when the big dragon does one. Oh yeah, I remember. This item. We weren't able to get it before because our laser rank wasn't enough. But now we can just leave. It's D unit number 5. We only have I don't know how many left, but I believe they're all in the same dungeon, actually. In the final dungeon, that is. And now we can take care of the Imperial Air Force. The music's pretty cool. Did he just say hentai?
No.
Yeah, so the regular jig. For those guys, the freeway gun is pretty damn neat. It's basically a one-hit kill once you get the weak point. But since this is a combined encounter, it's good to take advantage of this situation and bring your stats up for the last encounter. And as always, the agility wing is the best way to start, since it will make things go a lot more faster for the other ones. Defense one is probably the worst. The worst Drgn to start with, since he's the slowest one. Even moves to the side is the slowest. I like how the tail looks like a fin.
Yeah.
It's almost it's very similar to the one that the Skydart had from the second game. My favorite Drgn.
You missed one.
Well, I didn't have enough lasers. And besides, it's always it's actually always good to in those sort of situations to leave one alive, get all 3 turns ready for the next encounter, because it carries them over. You know, abusing the situation.
続いてバルナ級戦艦が開敵します。
これが噂のドラゴン。陛下の御前で醜態を晒すわけにはいかん。手柄を上げるぞ。迎撃戦闘開始。
And of course, every single one of those has exactly the same crew. As per usual, you don't want to be in the red. Even the weak enemies usually have something really nasty going on in the red. Like, for example, status effects, which are actual devil in this game, because I freaking don't actually know what they are. Well, there are just way too many of them, and each one of them has a unique item that you have to use against it. And the names of those items also don't make any sense. Like, guess what the paralysis heal is called?
I have no idea.
Revive.
That sounds like some mistranslation there.
Eh, not the only one. Not the only one. You will notice by when we reach the disc 4, the localization gets kind of lazy. But yeah, overall this game was really rushed towards the very end. It was like one of the last releases for the Saturn in the West. There was like only one more game released after this one, and let's not talk about what that was, because it was awful. Let's just assume this was how Saturn went down, and this is Grieg Orig. You may remember it as the gigantic dick fuck from the first game. You remember? 5th episode boss that killed me over and over so many times, and then killed me after it was dead. So anyway, this one I misremembered, let's say, because you fight this guy twice, and the next time you fight him, he's a lot nastier. So I'm playing it overly safe. I'm getting agility spiritual, and I'm gonna be spamming. I'm gonna be spamming shield spells. Because this guy does not get a not red area. At least not that I remember right now. So, Shield Berserker, similarly to other spells, gets affected by your spiritual staff. So, if I used it as a attacking dragon, it wouldn't be quite as effective. And because I'm using the spiritual dragon, my attack is shit. So I'm gonna be using my freeway gun. And since there are quite enough targets for me to use that, it's gonna do twice as much damage as the gun would regularly do. Now, once they give you that sort of message, you need to absolutely go to that place where it opens. It's only on two sides of it. This is the only weak points you will ever get. Granted, it would be better to use this sniper uplink for this, but quite frankly, it's yeah. In my situation, this is actually kind of better. And on this end is kind of annoying because you can't even aim with the freeway gun on the left side. It simply doesn't allow you. But he's almost done for. The exhaust ports, I believe, are triggered by after how much damage you do. The temperature is now stable, so the exhaust ports aren't there, and so we have to fight it the regular way. Yeah, if I change the gun now, it would just not be working.
後頭部リアクター順調作動中飛行甲板搬送完了修復作業完了問題ありません
This is probably the most scary revelation we had so far. They actually learned how to use their own technology.
Oh shit.
Let's aim my puny gun at this ginormous thing. Or take it head on. And we're still okay. Of course.
めえを帝国もろとも倒してやるぜ。
So his boss told him to leave him alone, leave me alone, but he's still going to kill me. He's not really that much of a problem, honestly. The only thing worth mentioning with him is that your lasers do not work. He's the only enemy in the game that can avoid all of your lasers without having some sort of special status condition. So me putting on Assault Wing here was kind of pointless. Yeah, the lasers simply don't aim at him. I was trying to see if maybe from behind, but doesn't work. In any case, they color the areas transparent and red, but fact of the matter is he'll never actually attack you in transparent. Which transparent usually means they're going to attack you for less damage. Oh, weird. I didn't actually remember him dodging the gun. So this is actually like the only place in the game where they require you to use your berserkers. But they make a quick work of him. Yeah, let's do this. I love that attack.
970, that did some serious damage.
Probably the only attack you shouldn't use in this situation is the Judgment Day. Simply because yeah, they're not that good for this sort of enemies. For single enemies, that is.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and it's also one of the first attacks you get. It's first special attacks. Look at that smoke.
俺はここで死ぬ。お前の仲間をやったのは俺だ。その仇を倒したんだ。満足したか、エッジ。閣下は俺とは違う。だから閣下に会ってくれ。閣下は塔で待ってる。
So, following the JRPG logic, beating the living shit out of somebody makes them our friend for the last minutes of their life. Of course.
It's sort of that they got bested, so they're just showing respect to the person that bested them.
Yeah, but that guy never made sense to begin with. He was crazy.
There you go, he was crazy!
I guess that's a better explanation than, yeah. And here's something you may miss out on. Again, I'm not gonna be showing the documents on my own simply because there are so many of them and are pretty long. I'm just gonna put a link to this in the description for all of them. And that's that.
And that's that.